When you feel negative emotion, the first thought you want to have is, am I going to put up with this? Why do you put up with sadness? Why don't you do something about it? Why do you keep the pot boiling? Why do you keep the fire on under that sadness? After Jerry made his transition, Esther felt sad for a long time. She had dinner one night with a friend whose wife had made her transition, and they were talking for a long time with each other over this meal. And he said, sometimes I think I just feel so damn sorry for myself. And Esther thought, oh, crap. That's exactly what it is. I'm just choosing to feel sorry for myself. I'm comparing what was to what is. I'm comparing what I wanted to what is. It's just misuse of your ability to focus. That's all sadness is. It's just sloppy thinking. It's not assigned to you. It's not necessary. It's just something you're putting up with unnecessarily. We don't want you to put a happy face sticker over the gas gauge on your car because it's troubling to see you have no gas. It's good to know where you're at. So we're not encouraging you to not be aware of your feelings. We're just asking you to be aware of them and know for sure you can improve them, and to let that be the thing that matters to you more than all other things put together, because that is what tending to your point of attraction is. You got a vortex full of wonderful things. And if you're not tending to the way you feel, then you have no control over your relationship with any of those things. You can't control what anybody else does or what anybody else thinks, singular or groups or national or worldwide. You can't control the behavior of anyone. You can control one thing and one thing only, and that's your relationship with your inner being, which is what your emotions or feelings are indicating to you. So when something didn't go the way you wanted it to, at very deep levels, something's really jacked up here. I'm supposed to feel good, and my life is supposed to go the way I want it to. And then you get defensive and you try to explain, why that happened, how that came about, who was involved in it, what happened, what went wrong. And we say, we love you so much, but blah, 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 because none of that is taking control of the way you feel. That's just giving a historical documentation of what is, and there's a whole lot going on. It's just stupid to be sad. There's just no reason for it. It's like giving up everything that you want by choosing a subject to feel sad about. And you know what feeling sad is? Feeling sad is you looking at it different than your inner being. You see, when you're in sync with your inner being, you are fully funded with energy and clarity and vitality and all the things that you consider to be life-giving. And when you're not in sync, you feel a withering. And so the not in syncness is thinking contradictory to what your inner being thinks. So 100% of the time that you are feeling negative emotion, no matter how justified you've practiced yourself to be, or how justified your society has helped you practice yourself to be, when you feel negative emotion, it means for sure you are looking at this differently than your inner being is looking at it. Because if you were looking at it like your inner being is looking at it, you'd feel joyous in the moment. So let's choose some doors. We've been teasing about these doors all day today. So let's start there. My mother lives down the street from me, and she's 10 years into advanced Alzheimer's. And how does somebody not feel sad about that? She's diminished from what she used to be. I feel very sad about that. That's the first door. And it feels terrible, so let's do something about it. Because you have control about the way you feel, so let's do something about the way you feel. So let's try to find another door. My mother is in her 10th year of disease, and I can't do anything about it, so I guess I'm just going to have to give in and accept it. Well, it's a slight improvement, and it is an accurate statement, but it still feels sucky, doesn't it? So let's choose another door. None of us intended to stay in our physical bodies forever. It's a natural thing that we reemerge back into non-physical. And some of us do it easily, and some of us do it more reluctantly. And sometimes things happen that make it easier. Sometimes you get run over by a big fast truck. Sometimes you attract something that causes you to not care so much about things. When Burl Ives, you know, the singer, actor, he's a friend of Jerry and Esther's. When he made his transition, they'd been there visiting. Esther could feel that it was unfolding and felt it in the moment that it happened. And it was euphoria beyond anything Esther had ever experienced before. She felt release, relief, happiness, big time. So she went to her computer and tuned into us and heard him talking to her. She wrote it down. She wanted to send it to Dorothy, his wife. And Burl said, "Hey, kid, it's just like Abraham said." Esther said, "Thank God." He said, "You caught me fast, didn't you?" Esther said, "Yeah, I've been tuned to you." The most interesting thing is that things that bothered me deeply just moments ago are not bothering me at all. In the death experience, there is a release of resistance. Some people have to find another way to release resistance before they can even allow the death experience, especially people that feel responsible, people who have been very action-oriented, who have been wrestling things to the ground and keeping things in order. It's hard for them to let go and reemerge into the fullness of who they are sometimes. And that's what those kinds of things are about. So that's another door. Did that feel better? How about this one? Something hasn't gone wrong. It's something going very right. How about this one? My mama's doing something that we're all doing, and she's doing it in her way. Path of least resistance. Good for you, Mom. I support you in every part of this. How about this? My mom had to do something sort of extreme to not worry. Maybe I don't have to do something quite so extreme to not worry. See what we're getting at? Yeah. There's no right or wrong. There's not one way of living that is the right way. There are endless ways of living. But the thing that is sure, every one of you, without exception, intended to like the living that you're doing. Through my life, I have come to know that I can't get sick enough to help sick people get well, or poor enough to help poor people be prosperous, or confused enough to help confused people become clear-minded, or sad enough to help sad people be happy. Life is showing me I get what I think about, and I'm realizing that everything I want is because I think I will feel better in the having of it. But if I keep needing something to be different before I can feel better, I'm never going to get there. I've got to feel it before I can live it. Because I have discovered if I'm not selfish enough to hold myself in alignment with that which I consider resource energy, I have nothing to give to anyone. Yeah. My mother and I had an agreement that we would never feel sad over the choices that the other made. I'm just now learning to keep that agreement with my mom. It had to get to this before I remembered it. We want to interject something here, because if you can hear this, it speeds things up for you. That distance between where you stand and where you want to be can be shorter. So consider this. Everything is about focus. The law of attraction responds to the vibrational frequency of your attention, of your meaning, of whatever it is you are flowing. Your emotions match it to help you to understand that. If you've been listening to us for a while, you get all of that. But this is the point that we want to make right here. Yes, when you focus and keep attention on something, it's going to come to more manifestation and more and more and more and more. Oh, we're pausing for dramatic effect because we really want you to hear this. What happens with so many of you is that you've got a thought process going expectation that feels so normal because it's been going on so long, and people around you do the same sort of thing, and you haven't been thinking that much about the power of your own thought. You've mostly just been an observer of stuff. So you've had the fire on, and it's becoming more and more. Esther's exact thoughts were, that water had to get this hot before it could get this hot, before it could get this hot, before it could get this hot. And there was something about the realization of the incremental trending, becoming more, that hit a place in Esther's understanding that had not been touched quite that well before. So here's the thing that we really want you to hear. If you wait till you have a manifestation that is not what you want, your human tendency, we get it, we understand it, is to now need to take some form of action to compensate for this manifestation, because here it is, you're seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, tasting it, touching it, and it just does not occur to hardly any of you that it got started with vibration and you could begin to alter it with vibration, because once it's manifested, it feels like you need to dive in. And that's what holds it. It's what slows the turnaround, because you could have a manifestation that is unwanted. It wouldn't matter what it is, really. It would not matter what it is. And you could say, oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Wasn't paying attention. I think I'll do something else now. Then you could just take a new pot with some new water and put it on a new fire and turn it on, and it would start becoming what you want it to become. But you don't do that because you got this pot to deal with. And you deal with that pot with action, with thoughts that feel like concern and injustice and victimhood and so if we could just convey, and you could really get that every thought has power, and every thought will grow in its power, and you have the ability to focus without contradiction, and you could get a whole lot more of what you want a whole lot faster if you just understood that and were willing to remove your attention from unwanted rather than wrestle it to the ground and kill it. Because when you dig in, when you dive in, and you know what, the thing that you most commonly do when faced with a manifestation that you don't want, or even faced with the absence of a manifestation that you do want, you explain it to death. Because there's a part of you, here's why, here's exactly why. You know at many levels of your being, most of them not conscious to you right now, but they could be, you came with that from non-physical into this time and space, knowing that you are good and that life is supposed to be good for you. This is bubbling at deep levels of your core, your very being. So, when something is off, when something isn't the way you want it to be, you're throwing these fits because you understand at some level that it's supposed to be good, and the fact that it isn't makes you defensive, makes you want to explain it, makes you want to double down, makes you want to explain why you're here rather than where you want to be. And a lot of it is because you're playing to the peanut gallery that surrounds you, because you chose this and it's a good thing, and bless your hearts, we feel your pain sometimes. No, we never do. It's just something nice to say to people. That when you are surrounded by other people who are observing, it's true, they are having observational thoughts about you. And something in you makes you feel like you need to explain to these observers around you why you're standing here in this place. But it causes you to go on and on and on and on and on. Law of attraction will bring you whatever it is that you're offering vibrationally.